What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel, Manny Mod's Garage, and today we're going to be talking about oil changes specifically on Hellcat Chargers and Challengers. Today I'm going to get into the tips and tricks, the easies, the in and outs, something simple, not too complicated. I've noticed that a lot of these channels, they will post a video and it's a Hellcat on a lift. We don't all have lifts. So I'm going to show you how I do my oil changes, what tools I use, and my preference of oil. Yeah, I don't want to make this long, overdrawn video about what the forums talk about, what Dodge wants you to buy, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you guys want to use Pennzoil, Platinum Ultra Synthetic, Superpower, Marvel, all this stuff, then use that. There's actually nothing wrong with doing what they suggest you do. But however, in my opinion, from all the years that I've had Mopar, since 2010, since I had my first gen Charger SRT, I've always used what they recommended at first. And then basically through politics and corporations, they wanted to change it up to Pennzoil. And once again, it's not bad, but I like to get something that's accessible, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So since day one, I've been using it on my Hellcat, I've been using it on my TRX, I've been using it on my Trackhawk when I had it before. I never had a problem with that. It worked great. It's actually got all the same additives and API service, serial numbers, and all these crazy little things here and there that it wants. It had it before, and it still has it. Just because it doesn't say SRT on it doesn't mean it's gonna break your engine. But as far as me, this is what I use. As far as oil filters, I just stick to Mobil 1. Fram is also a decent choice, but I stick to Mobil 1. K&N is also very good. And of course, you want to use the Mopar. Now, I know Walmart has the Mopar oil filter. I'm going to put that in the description below, and we'll go from there. Tools you're going to need is going to be a 13 millimeter. This is specifically for the oil drain bolt. 10 millimeter, and that's for the actual oil cover tray, oil pan cover tray. And then we also have a 7 millimeter to take out a specific special tray that, believe it or not, your tech does not want to remove. And you're gonna see what I'm talking about. It's actually pretty dangerous. Now, I know if you look up on different forums and whatnot, they tell you to not remove that tray and only put 6 quarts of oil, but I use 7 quarts of oil, and I'm gonna show you why. All right, guys, welcome back. So real quick, we're gonna talk about jack stands and a jack. What I use is what I like to use. I've been using it since day one. The jack stands that I have, they're from Pittsburgh. They're not bad. I've heard a lot of crazy stuff about them recently, but it's okay because these jack stands are from 1986. At least they look like it. Now, as far as the jack, it's a normal standard jack. You have 2 options, guys. You can use the setup that I have, or you can buy some ramps. Race ramps, whatever brand you want to go, you can go to the auto parts store and pick up whatever set of ramps you can drive your car on. For me, I don't use ramps. I like the jack and the jack stands, but you can buy this stuff relatively cheap at your nearest Harbor Freight store or whatever the case is. But this is what I use, and we're gonna get to it. Jacked up the car pretty smoothly, no issues, took me maybe 3 minutes. So there's no excuses that this is gonna be too much labor. That's nothing. Just make sure that you jack it up on the jack points as I pointed out when I was jacking up the car. Here's the oil cap. You wanna remove that before you drain the oil, and you wanna pull the dipstick out. This is important. The reason why is because it flows better. I mean, it's just kind of physics, it's common sense, you know, it's just science, you know. If you flip a bottle upside down, it's gonna have trouble. If you poke a hole in the top, and it's just gonna flow out smoothly. So this helps when we drain the oil. One of the things that I do, based off my experience and how many years I've been doing this, is I like to change the oil cold. You can change it hot, there's nothing wrong with that. If you went to an express lane at some auto shop or whatever the case is, they're gonna do it right there at the spot on the fly, and that's okay. There's no method to the madness. It's just my preference is cold. You're not going to be burning your hands. You're not going to be burning your arms. And the oil's not going to be too hot. And I also prefer it that way so that most of the oil's already in the bottom. If it's hot, it's going to be stuck all up inside the engine walls and whatnot and the valve covers. And it's going to take a while for it to completely come out. So don't be surprised that if you change your oil when it's hot, you're probably not going to get all the oil out of there. When it's cold and the oil pan's already settled and it's comfortable, you're probably going to get most of the oil out. If you don't like it, it's fine. That's how I do it. So this is a simple oil change. I'm trying to treat this like if you're changing the oil on a Camry. It's no different than any other car. There's one extra step, and I'm about to show it to you very soon. But as you can see, I'm just using a regular flashlight. It could be a cordless one, it could be the corded one, or you can just use your iPhone. All right, guys, so this is not gonna be the best example, and I'm hating myself for this right now, but here we got the bottom of the engine. There's supposed to be a plastic cover here, but I remembered that I took it off years ago and I never put it back. I don't recommend that. It's not gonna damage anything. It might give you a little more protection if you feel better, a peace of mind. If you're a stickler, then that's what you're gonna wanna do. But for me, I took it off because I changed my own oil and I don't care about the plastic shield that connects here. So here we have two 10 mils back there. This is one here, there's one down there. And then we have two 10 mils up here. One there, one there. Yes, it's a 2016. Please don't judge me, and this video was made in 2023. So we're gonna take that tray out, pretend took it out, and then we're gonna have this tray that we're gonna take out, and that's where the 7 mil comes at. So let's get ourselves adjusted here. All right, guys, so it's gonna be kind of complicated to explain all this because I'm trying to make it as real as possible, real time. No lift, no fancy shop, stuff that you cannot afford, whatever the case may be. So yeah, we're gonna take these clips out, and there's 3 here, and there's 3 on the other side, and that's basically it. Okay, guys, so we're back. Here we got the tedious parts, the 7 mil. The 7 millimeters here, and we gotta take off all these 7 millimeters. If I'm not mistaken, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5? Yeah, 5. 5 7 millimeter bolts. Usually I do this with a drill and I knock it out pretty quickly, but guess what? This is for simplicity. For the average guy who doesn't have all the tools. Just get your 7 mil, and taking it off. You guys put glasses on. I know I'm not a good example. I'm not wearing gloves and I'm not wearing all the good stuff. I forgot to mention also we have 3 pop clips right here. I've already taken a couple out. I'm just gonna take the last one out to keep everything stable. It's good to do this because if not, this whole thing would have fell off on my face after I took out the 7 millimeter bolts. So here we go. Just slide it out. I like to slide it behind me. I'm gonna try to explain this to you guys as simple as possible. Here we got the bumper. If you're looking at the car, on the left-hand side, when you take out the tray, you're gonna see this bolt. That's the end of your oil cooler. You wanna take this bolt out and drain all the fluids out of it. The reason why is because when they change your oil, most reputable companies will not take this bolt out because either laziness or they're supposedly not supposed to take it out. When you take that out, I promise you, you're gonna take about a cup or maybe half a quart of oil out of your oil cooler. It's gonna be dirty. And that's the reason why most shops recommend a 7 quart or 6 quart oil change versus a 7 quart like we're doing today. When you drain that, that's gonna be, it should be around 6 quarts of oil draining out of your engine. But when they don't do it, you're gonna have all that dirty oil in there, and I'm about to show you. All right, so we got our socket, wrench, 13 millimeter, like I said before. Put it here, and basically what you're gonna wanna do is you wanna give it a few tugs and break it loose. That's it. All right, let's get our oil pan positioned. Remember, if it's gonna shoot this way, you don't wanna put the oil pan here, because then it's gonna shoot on the floor. You wanna have the edge of the oil drain plug closer to the edge of the actual oil pan, opposites. some rags. Okay, I'm gonna move it out the way. I like to put now that it's draining smooth, I like to put the edge of the oil pan near the corner so that I can start working on the oil filter. Now we're about to go up in there and I'm about to show you what the oil filter looks like. Okay, so here we got the oil filter. It's kind of difficult with the camera and the flashlight and everything in the way. Usually you don't have any of that stuff in the way. You just have an iPhone or somebody helping you real quick. So we got to crack this thing loose. So just either you have a wrench, a filter wrench, and I'll show you what that looks like in a second, or you're just strong. I'm just strong, so I'm gonna turn it as much as I can. I like to loosen it a little bit, just so that most of the oil comes down. And then once you crack it, you see it's spinning, take it off before you get all messy. Loosen it up a little bit, let it drain just a little bit more. And yeah, I just loosen it all the way. Don't be afraid to get dirty. There you go. I put it upside down, let it do its thing. Get a rag near you, or just use your shirt. All right, guys, so here's the key note. This is why I want to do this video for you guys. This is a Mopar filter, and when I took off the oil filter, I noticed that this was pretty loose. You want to make sure that these oil seals that are on these filters stay on these filters. So when you take out your oil filter, just make sure this is still here, because if not, then you're going to double up these seals. You're going to put the new oil filter on with its original seal, new seal, and it's just going to double up and you're going to drop all your oil. You're not going to notice it. You're going to hear your engine knocking, and then you're going to be out of oil and you're going to need a new engine. So I don't want to scare you guys. Just, it's very simple. Old filter out, old seal out. Here's your oil drain plug. Just make sure that that seal is still there as well and that it's serviceable. When you go under there and you're about to change the oil, just make sure there's no leakage. If there's leakage, it's probably this gasket that's on this bolt. All right, guys, 15 millimeter. This is the bottom of the actual cooler drain plug. Wipe it up a little bit. Just the FYI, so that you know, Charger, Challenger, they're almost identical. There's nothing to worry about as far as if it's different in some spots or whatnot. The oil filter is going to be in the same spot. The oil drain plug is going to be in the same spot, as well as the oil cooler, that line. It's going to be in the same spot. Charger, Challenger, the same. All right, guys, here's a little trick that I like to use. If you don't have a funnel, this is how I make a funnel. Got a plastic bottle, doesn't matter which one you get. Here we go. Basically, you just want to cut this portion off. You make a funnel. Old school. That's it. Let's go do it. So pay attention to how I do this. So everybody, they would grab a bottle and they'll naturally pour it this way. And that's not how you pour out of these bottles. So what you want to do is, you're going to want to pour it the opposite way, this way. Why? Because the fluid is going to come out the top a little easier, and you have more leverage of pouring it more. So watch. See how simple that was? It flows a lot better. so now we're gonna check the oil. It's good to check it before and after the engine was started. And yeah, looking at it right now, it's within the actual little notches that it's supposed to be at. I'd show you guys. The only thing is that the camera's not gonna focus well. I'm gonna keep on checking it a couple more times. Look underneath your car before you start it. You never know. It's good to double check. It could be possible that you left the bolt loose, the filter starting to leak. You never know, you double sealed your oil filter. It's good to actually check on things like that. And that's how we do oil changes at Manny Mod's Garage. Please stay tuned for more content. I will be back shortly with an actual video of the TRX and how I do an oil change on that truck. Trust me, I can tell you right now, totally different monster to work with. Stay tuned, peace out. I urge you guys, one more thing. I urge you guys to please take the used oil and dump it at the right corresponding locations. Don't be putting this oil in the dumpster or in the trash can or just dump it in the grass. Just don't do that. Don't destroy the environment and don't do some stuff that might get you in trouble.